We're live. It's Old Man G here, and it's another podcast episode for Red Studio Live. I'm joined again by
Shawnee.
Team Chicago.
And we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to quickly review some of the key games from last week. Ooh, so that's me. Where's that coming from? Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. So we're going to review a couple of key games from last week. We're going to take a brief detour after that and talk about Serie's interesting pictures. Then we're going to review or look at the Champions League draw, some of the games from the Europa League draw, and then we're going to talk about some of the upcoming game week fixtures. So quite a bit to go through. So and as I always say, if you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe to REDEVILSTUDIO if you'll be listening to this afterwards. Follow us on Twitter, UnitedX. Shout out to Team Chicago1's channel. Head over there and subscribe to that as well. Take a look at the link description. We've got our podcast on the iTunes Store as well as Spotify as well. And make sure you get a part of our active Discord community. Okay, so let's get into let's get down to business. Let's get on to business. And the first round of business is Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal Football Club are. I don't really know what to say here. I mean, as a United fan, obviously, we dropped points against Everton. It was frustrating because they got chances. But I think the difference between United and Arsenal, in my opinion, right now, is that I see a United team that with one or two key players, they can make a difference. Solskjaer can be a bit tactical in it, but I can see a team that at least wants to play for the badge and play for the manager. When I look at Arsenal Football Club right now, I see a team that is very disinterested, doesn't seem to want to play for the manager, and looks like a relegation fodder team, basically. And if it were not for the fact that West Ham was so bad last week, they could have easily lost that game. So I'm going to hand it over to Team Chicago1, who's the resident Arsenal fan. What do you think of the state of Arsenal? Because this is essentially a review of the City game, but maybe you want to talk about that as well.
Team Chicago1 here. Obviously we know Arsenal's in big trouble right now. We're on the same point as Newcastle, who, they were in the bottom three at the start of the season, and they've caught up to Arsenal, and Arsenal were second at the start of the season. So it just kind of shows you how far we've come down. The players from top to bottom, the players from top to bottom. That you could kind of say the only real players that are trying, as in the thing about Arsenal is if you're a professional footballer, I'm sure you're gonna try, but are you going to try for 15 minutes or are you going to try for 90 minutes? Do you know what I mean? So Leno, he actually saved it from being 5 or 6-0. Serie was good, but I just don't think he's good enough for the Premier League. He's a bit small and etc. And he's not.
Or maybe he's over to bulk up a bit.
Yeah, and I don't feel like he's had the right coaching, because why was he so good in the first season and all of a sudden not so good anymore? Yeah. Aubameyang is our captain.
Has that been, do you think, because of the whole Xhaka incident?
Nah.
Possibly, because he wasn't been picked.
It's probably a good point though, the whole Xhaka thing. Since that's happened, I think we've won one game. Xhaka was probably when he got out of the team, we kind of realised that we kind of need him, which is just so ironic. In terms of taking things for granted. But yeah, we gave the captaincy to Aubameyang, and just look at him in that picture there that you can see on screen now. He's just not a captain. He's a goal scorer. He's not a leader. He shouldn't ever be a captain. I saw him against Man City. As soon as that first goal went in from De Bruyne, he gave up.
Spat his dummy out.
He really did. The only player, you can say Martinelli, he was still tracking back. He was shouting at Guendouzi. I think he was shouting at Guendouzi because he was tracking back and Guendouzi wasn't. and Guendouzi was meant to be like a defensive midfielder. The team's just not good enough from top to bottom. Like the thing with Man United, you can't say they've got a better team than Arsenal, can you?
No,
like in terms of like ability and things like that.
The front three.
You can't say that at all. Maybe the back. That's probably the only thing with Wan-Bissaka and people like that.
Well, you say that, but let me just have a quick read of like Kevin De Bruyne's comments about the game, because I come across this and I thought this was quite interesting. This is coming from the Mirror, but he said it on other sites, and basically along the lines what De Bruyne says is, and I'll just get this quote here. Said, we saw up front in the videos the attackers, they tried to press up, but when we pass their front four, they really don't help the Arsenal defence. So they always stay with four up front, except Gabriel Martinelli, who comes back a little bit more. I think it's really difficult for the six defenders to control that, because obviously you can come from everywhere on the pitch. I think they left some open spaces and we exploited them really well. Obviously, when you're 3-0 up, it makes the game a little bit more easier for us. So what De Bruyne is saying is that like your attackers, so essentially what was Ozil playing, Aubameyang, I think, and Pepe, and Pepe Munter, like
Martinelli was tracking.
So aside from Martinelli, everyone else wasn't tracking back and was leaving your defence essentially exposed. So De Bruyne isn't even blaming the defence, which a lot of Arsenal fans seem to blame. He's blaming the fact that they weren't getting enough support, which I thought was quite interesting.
Oh, me. Sorry. I actually watched the game as well with Team Takagi, and the first goal to me was maybe the most devastating one, because De Bruyne. Who doesn't close De Bruyne down just on the edge of the box?
Well, it was all started from, we had a chance at the other end.
Yeah.
And like you said, what De Bruyne is saying, there wasn't a lot of tracking back.
Yeah.
And then the way he went past Chambers, you were saying,
Chambers,
so easy.
Yeah,
that's Jesus. It's not. We're not talking about Messi here or
Chambers,
Aguero. We're talking about Gabriel Jesus.
The ball. It wasn't a fast ball. The ball trickled past him, and he knew that he had. Who was it that was overtaking him?
Arsenal player or
no, the City player that was
Jesus.
Jesus. He was on his left hand side. He knew he was there. He knew the ball was coming across him. So either you do one of two things as a defender there. You either get to that ball, which it wouldn't have been hard. It was a yard. It was like a yard in front of him. He could have like extra little bit of energy. Even put it out for a corner. Anything to get it away from Jesus in that position.
Sorry to interrupt you guys. Yep. So just quick shout out, Don Ragnar. I've seen Joe Cole do things that I don't even think Messi can do. Steven Gerrard when Liverpool signed Cole. Quote us on Run TV. Fair enough. Well, shout out to Don Ragnar. And Jamie, United have a better team than Arsenal. See, Jamie, I disagree. Right. I don't think United do have a better team than Arsenal. I think Arsenal have a lot more. That was the thing that at the start of the season we had the discussion. You go back to the first podcast. I was honest and said I think looking at the top, looking at Spurs, looking at the only thing was maybe Chelsea, because I thought maybe the youth might be inexperienced. But I generally feel that Arsenal, Tottenham, City and Liverpool have better squads in terms of depth than United do. You have a right winger in Nicolas Pepe. We don't have a real right winger. We don't have alternative striker options like you do, and having Aubameyang and Lacazette and Gabriel Martinelli, etc. Although Green was coming through. And in midfield, you have an array of options that you can pick from. I bet they might not be good enough, but you have at least an array of options. But yeah, that's pretty. But anyway, go on, Sean.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. It is to the point of that. It's just that right now, I think United have a little more stability than Arsenal, and they're just playing better than Arsenal at the minute. But you can see that if someone can pick that Arsenal team up, there's the quality in that Arsenal team to do damage, to hurt the big teams, and obviously the small ones. But yeah, going back to that first goal, so he had Jesus on his left-hand side. The ball came trickling across him. It was only like a yard or two in front of him. He can intercept that, either that or just poke it out for a corner, just anything to get away from him. And that's a dangerous position. But okay, fair enough. Then you fail and Jesus gets the ball. Don't let him cross that ball in. And if the ball does come in, are you expecting De Bruyne to have 5 feet of 5 foot of space?
Four players around Jesus. We're not talking about Eden Hazard or Messi here. Gabriel Jesus, one player, two player maximum.
Yeah.
Four players we're looking at him, and De Bruyne is like, all right.
Yeah, and the ball isn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's where you need you need somebody tracking back, making sure that you're on De Bruyne. I mean, surely Ljungberg would have said, right, if De Bruyne is making a run through the middle of midfield, you're tracking back with him to one of the players.
In the first half, De Bruyne, it looked like he was men against boys. The amount of times he could just dribble and he scored 2 goals. He could have had a hat trick if it wasn't for Leno's save.
I think they hit the post. Did he hit the post?
Yeah, De Bruyne hit the post.
De Bruyne, yeah.
No, it was going in. It was saved by Leno.
Saved. What a save!
Leno then pushed it onto the post.
Yeah.
So if it had he not got there, it was going in.
What a save!
That's the point. So
yeah. So that first goal sort of unfortunately summed up the rest of the day for Arsenal. I think.
What I think I just thought was just really baffling was that City have lost 4 games this season. Actually, 4 games this season. Obviously, if we discount Liverpool as the anomaly, because Liverpool just is a different matter, the games they lost against were Norwich, Manchester United, and Wolves. So if I'm and both the Norwich and City loss were at the Etihad Stadium. So if I'm Arsenal, I'm like, how did those teams actually get those wins? And they're by 2-goal deficits, So how they get them? What was the style of play? So how was they going about? And the key link with all of them is that they didn't allow City to have any space. So as soon as City had the ball, there would at least be maybe 10 man, maybe 9 men in the box, closing down the City players if they can. If they couldn't keep all the City players, they would just make sure they had no place to run. Okay, defend as well as they could, and then go out and quickly counter-attack with pace. Or at the very least, like Norwich, try and be comfortable in the ball, retain a bit of ball possession, but also get back into your shape quickly as soon as you lose the ball. That's it. Arsenal didn't seem to have any shape whatsoever. I guess what I'm saying is it wasn't really for me clear what Arsenal's plan was. Was it that they were going to
because whatever they
were they wanting to outpossess City to hold on to the ball? Were they wanting to defend deep? What was the strategy here? Because it looked like they just kind of, in my opinion, just looked like they kind of just went thinking, we'll see what happens, and then they got 3-0 down, and then were like, well, okay, that's another write-off, which isn't really good. But go on.
I think Ljungberg was kind of saying he doesn't really know where he's at, and he's basically saying they need to get a new manager in. He was saying something like, he's not being told a lot, but there needs to be kind of urgency in whatever decision that they're going to make. Everton, they've had 2 games with Big Dunk, but kind of fair play because he's changed the system and it's been working. And then within 2 games, they've now probably getting Ancelotti. Arsenal have had, is that his 4th or 5th game? He's had 2 Europa Leagues, I think, or 1 Europa League, and then 2 or 3 Premier Leagues, I believe. He's had about 4 games, Ljungberg. I can't remember now. Maybe more than that.
The only game I can think of is the West Ham one.
West Ham, City.
No, I mean he's won.
No, I'm just saying in how many games he's had.
Yeah.
And so it should take 2 games minimum to find a new manager. We're not like Watford or someone here. I mean, even them, they've got a new manager now, haven't they?
Yeah.
So.
Are they doing it right?
Yeah, that's true. They had a good game against Liverpool.
Yeah.
It just seems from top to bottom like it's just a mess. Like the board, the sporting directors, all of it. It just seems awful. Like, you tell me why. I know Pepe is a good player, right? You tell me why we spent the most of our money on a winger. Well, that was the priority from the book.
Let me quickly just touch on that, because the next sort of lead up question to it, before I actually go into it, talk about Nicolas Pepe. James sort of says, on paper, Arsenal have a better team than Arsenal.
I think it's supposed to be United.
So on paper, United are a better team than Arsenal. No, I think it's on paper Arsenal have a better team than United. On the field, United are better. And Don Magnan says it's a shame to see what's happened to Arsenal. They epitomise the beautiful game in the prime of Arsene Wenger, which I agree with. Nicolas Pepe. Sorry. I think the big question with Nicolas Pepe is Nicolas Pepe a flop?
No.
Is Nicolas Pepe a flop? Does he need to be inducted into tier 3? Or is it still like, we still need to make it's still pending, purgatory?
If he wasn't 72 million, no one would be saying a single thing about him. It's not his fault he's 72 million. He scored especially in a City game, you can tell Pep had respect for him because there were 2 or 3 players surrounding Pepe as soon as he got the ball. I noticed that. Especially because City have been quite vulnerable down that left side recently. When if I'm honest, like, he was probably one of our better players as well that game. I would say most games he's played, he's been quite dangerous, even if he hasn't scored but he's created chances.
Okay.
I think he's a very good player, to be honest with you. I just think he needs the right manager under him.
Do you think he's better than Daniel James?
He's better than Daniel James. Daniel James is good, don't get me wrong, and fair play to him coming from, was it Swansea?
Yeah.
Daniel James is good, but he's not better than Pepe. Like, Daniel James can do one thing, and that's just run
And
the ball
and score.
Yeah, I think he's got similar assists and goals to Pepe.
I think he's got slightly more assists and goals.
In the Premier League, I think he has.
Yeah, so I've just looked up his stats. So he's had 15 appearances, 5 of them were subs, and 2 of them were goals.
Is that Pepe, is it?
Pepe, yeah.
Okay. So
2 goals, 3 assists. That's just in the Premier League.
15 appearances. It's his first. It takes a bit to adjust as well. Where's he from? He's from French league.
Lille.
Yeah, it's tough to adjust from there. And he like that. Those 2 Champions League goals that he scored.
Yeah, Europa League goal. Yeah.
He showed up in that game. If he can prove himself, consistently turn up.
Yeah,
and
another thing is a Europa League player.
Could be like, I mean, he needs to if he brings it into the Premiership, because like if he had also a good team around him that also wants to push forward, wants to play a little bit.
But isn't that the problem with Arsenal? Isn't that the problem with Arsenal? Like, even as a United fan, I'm looking at that game of New Year's and thinking, if Ollie's doing his homework, he will know how to beat this Arsenal side. It's not particularly. That the front 4, if he picks the same team, are not going to track back. They're not going to help the defence, but we will. So all I have to do is either long ball the ball up, so bypass the midfield and push it through to a James or a Rashford or whatever to basically run at them, or just put 2 men on Aubameyang or Pepe, etc., stifle them, frustrate them, and then you kind of see what I mean. So. Yeah. Is it managerial tactics? Is it? I don't know. It's. Go on.
No. Just saying. Yeah, we need something. we need something like immediately.
Yeah, I mean,
but Pepe's not a flop.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, give him a chance, because I mean he's only had 15 appearances since he's come to England.
And the thing about a lot of these other players, like Daniel James, has probably played every game in the Premier League this season. Pepe has he's had sub appearances. He's not been played at all some games.
So why is that though?
Because Emery would chop and change. Like I don't remember a lot of times where I saw the same 11 out every single week. Like Liverpool for the first, I want to say 8 games of the season played the same front 11. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean Mane. I can't remember if he played the first game this season.
It's like a lot of players were injured at the beginning as well, so we didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
Like you had Fabinho starting every game because Keita wasn't there, and you'd had Hendo starting every single game.
But he doesn't really change that much.
No.
Arsenal tried. I think it was Guendouzi and Xhaka, and then it went to Guendouzi and Willock, and then it went to Guendouzi, and then it went to Xhaka and Torreira, and
The issue I don't understand is when you spend that amount of money on a player, okay, it's because you need that player to fit to do a particular role, pick a position. So Liverpool spending X amount on Alisson, X amount on Van Dijk was because they felt they needed to fix a particular position to fit a particular role. I am still yet to understand what role Pepe actually brings to Arsenal. That couldn't have been, because it was unclear what formation Arsenal were going to play. Now they've sort of gone for we're not going to play 4-4 or 2 or 4-3-3. We're going to probably play 4-2-3-1. So Jamie's saying Pepe's a good player, lol. Bit harsh. So because in a 4-3-3 system as a right winger, fair enough. But then the thing is that Aubameyang was then, I think, being ushered onto the wing, I think, as well, which didn't help to incorporate Lacazette, which didn't work. Then there's no place for Ozil, so then Ozil now needs to come in. If Ozil's going to come in, then you then have to put Aubameyang as a number 9, as a poacher, which means that Lacazette can't play, because Lacazette then can't play on the wings. So again, it's almost like Manchester United this, in that you're buying a player, almost like Sanchez. It smells to me of Sanchez, where you're buying a player for the potential value, but you haven't actually worked out what system he's going to play in and the effect of it, and that's poor management, in my opinion, or that's your board, So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I think Pepe, you can see that Pepe has a huge amount of potential. I think that who plays on the right for Man United, because a lot of the time
right now is Daniel James.
Yeah. Well, he's also got great potential as well. But you'd have a battle if Pepe was there fighting with Daniel James. You'd have a right battle because they both have fantastic quality. But I mean, if you look at Pepe's goals that he's scoring from the free kicks and just generally his interest in wanting to play, because he was sort of really, really frustrated when he was running up the pitch and there was no one there, Aubameyang. There's a few times where there's and you could see him. He was sort of swinging his leg to say, for goodness sake, guys, come on, come up with me, and at the moment, there's not really a team spirit at Arsenal, and I think that if they pick, you'd notice his potential once he's in a team that has a little momentum and just a little bit of willpower to go on to win games.
Mm-hmm. Well, apparently, Unai Emery wanted a fullback. Unai Emery wanted a fullback, a defender, a midfielder, and a right winger. But the board said it was priority for a wide player, so that's why we spent all that money on Pepe. So I feel bad.
Tierney, didn't he?
Yeah, but right back, sorry, not left back, because we got a left back, and that made perfect sense because Bellerin was injured, and he only just come back, and Bellerin. I mean, the type of injury that Bellerin got. It's not just a knock, it was the ACL or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just from the top to the bottom, there's just bad communication, because we still need a right back. I mean, Maitland-Niles is, he's got a lot of criticism, but he's playing there and he's not complaining, and he did a decent job at City.
Was it Nacho? Was it they used to play?
No, Bellerin.
Bellerin was there. Okay.
Yeah,
right. So Nacho's the other side.
But why is it that we've still not got a replacement right back? After all this time, and Maitland-Niles isn't a right back.
Well,
City have 5 right backs.
True, but then from what I can gather from Arsenal, I don't think Arsenal fans were saying before the season that a right back was a priority. They were saying that at the very least they were saying they needed a centre back, which they did sign.
Well, David Luiz, that doesn't count.
But they also have obviously the person coming the following season to sort of almost make way for that. So.
I kind of I know we made all these signings. I was kind of hopeful at the start of the season, but then when I saw the problems, I was like, it's not happening. But I just think that we need to push Europa League so much. I think we need to put our all into that, because the Premier League's a write-off unless something miraculous happens. I think we need to somehow just put all our efforts into Europa League, because that's the only way we're getting into the Champions League. And if you get into the Champions League, you can build on that so much. You can get this kind of player. A lot more players are going to want to come to your club. So
Can I also just say to the Man United fans that I've just had a look at the statistics of Daniel James, and Daniel James has had 17 appearances and 3 goals, and Pepe has had 15 appearances and 2 goals. So there's not much between them.
What about the assists, sorry?
Assists.
5.
Is it 5?
Yeah.
5 assists for him, and Pepe had 2. So like the
got
assists,
more,
assists are a bit better. But like still, I mean that's the thing though. Like Man United have a bit of a togetherness where you're playing a lot better at the moment than Arsenal. I think if the game over Christmas, I think it's just going to be Arsenal. If Arsenal have it together by then, or have even maybe a manager lined up at least.
Well, it looks like Arteta.
Arteta, yeah.
Hopefully.
Talks going on.
I mean, there hasn't been any like solid.
It's not no
But
solid
Sky
talk.
Sports and other places.
Yeah, so
they're
there's
saying we're in advanced talks apparently.
Yeah.
Will Arteta. Before we're going to move on to other topics. Before I speak, Don Wagner says Ozil looks shattered and tired. The only work he does is collect his check at the end of the week. I guess I'd be tired to holding a check as heavy as 300k a week. I agree with that. I think he's getting that, isn't he?
Is he? I think Arsenal have a policy where you don't get more than like 200.
He must be getting at least 250k. He's certainly one of the highest earners.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So
sure,
at least,
But
but Ozil right now I think is Ozil's tier. No, I'll be like Ozil's tier 3 right now. Banter Academy tier 3 right now.
Like, I don't understand what people think Ozil is. Ozil's like 32 or something.
Yeah.
Like, he's not gonna be as good as he was when he was.
Of course
like,
he's not.
Like people like.
Of course not, but it's Arsenal. But literally with Emery, Arsenal fans, everyone was having a go at Emery all the time, saying, "Why aren't you playing Ozil? Why isn't Ozil on the team? Why isn't Ozil? Ozil." So it's more based on the fact that like Ozil was supposed to be the champion that was gonna kickstart Arsenal season and Emery was a loser for not playing him. And then he comes in and like, okay, he has maybe 1 or 2. For me, he's like kind of like Phil Jones in the sense that he'll have maybe 1 or 2 good performances, and that might deceive you into thinking he's good.
Yeah.
And then it'll just be bad.
I think that's like commentators as well and pundits and stuff, because he had a good game in the Carabao Cup against Liverpool's like C team.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is what Ozil can do. You realise, like Aston Villa,
and they still lost, but
Aston Villa are beating them 3-0 right now.
Yeah.
And you're having a, I mean, I think it's 3-0. They might, don't know what the score is now, but
It's probably,
they're getting smashed. I think.
It's 4-0. Yeah.
in Arsenal. Anyway, that's how Europa League team, by the way.
Yeah. Although they made 5, I think they made 5 new even changes even to that team, so they're just sort of, which I don't think is a big.
It's unfair on Liverpool, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, I think it's this. Just a deeper point from the Liverpool thing. I think this wouldn't have happened had the Club World Cup not been on.
Yeah, that's true.
So the Club World Cup been on, Liverpool probably fielded a semi-strong, not a strong team, but a semi-strong team to this. But literally, they now have to like field 2 separate teams.
Yeah, it's like
the only players that can play are the ones that are left at Liverpool in England, basically.
There's none out today. Like I don't even think the subs bench has any anyone. Yeah. It's
I think even Brewster's been taken to the
to
the
the
World Cup. Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
I love this. Even some of these BBC comments like, how can Klopp disrespect the team? It's like Klopp isn't Klopp in like isn't like Klopp in Qatar now. Like what do you mean? What disrespect could he sort of like? He can't be in 2. He can't be in 2 places at once. Like what the hell, guys? So like.
I mean, who even cares about the Carabao Cup? I mean, it's just Mourinho is the only one I agree.
And Spurs, to be honest. Although Spurs aren't.
Well, Spurs is Mourinho.
Yeah. Well, because they're not. Because they would have liked that cup, but they're not in it because they got knocked out by Colchester, wasn't it? I think it was Colchester. I think because we're playing them at Old Trafford.
Spurs,
I think it was Colchester. So don't underestimate Colchester.
Yeah, I don't know, like Carabao. I don't going out. I mean, fair enough. Like have a go at the FA Cup and everything, but I don't even like concentrate on the Premiership, Champions League. They're maybe the 2 main cups. Carabao. Like I mean, What is it? The £100,000?
100. Yeah, we were listening to it on the radio. £100,000 for the winner of the Carabao Cup. Yeah. And the Welsh club gets 5 million. So it's like, I think I'll go.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Couldn't pay Ozil's wages for that, man.
Not even for a week.
Yeah. No, it's a no-brainer. So I've got no. So I'll drop that sort of there. But like anyone that's saying, "Oh my goodness, how the club disrespect the competition, etc." They should basically speak to the FA, because the FA were the people who wouldn't rearrange fixtures, who wouldn't change things for the sake of the competition, and they're the ones that should be held to account, because the FA frankly don't seem to care much about fans or clubs for that matter. Anyway, let's move on from the FA. So we've talked about Arsenal. I think this will be a to be continued. We'll preview who Arsenal playing Everton away, I think, at Goodison. And so far, Big D, Duncan Ferguson, if you didn't know who I was referring to, will be probably will still be in charge unless Ancelotti comes beforehand, and he might cause Arsenal a few problems because he seems to have galvanised his Everton side. Anyway, moving on. So we're going to quickly go through, talk about Chelsea's Lampard team, because they've lost, I think, the last, is it 3 or 4 games now in the Premier League? So they've lost against, obviously they lost against Bournemouth at home, they lost to West Ham away, they lost to Man City, and then who was the other team they lost to?
Did you say West Ham?
Yeah, I said West Ham, City.
Everton, wasn't it? Everton.
They lose to Everton as well. Yeah, so
I think I captain Tammy Abraham.
Yeah, so they've lost. So, this is another one of Frank Lampard. They play a lot of good football. They were ahead. They were in top 4, doing really well. And now suddenly they lost their last 4 Premier League games. And are we starting to see a issue with Chelsea's side? Because now Spurs, and we'll come to Mourinho in a second, are only 3 points behind Chelsea. United, I think, are we 4 points? 4 points. Yeah, we're 4 points behind Spurs. So yeah, are we seeing an issue?
One point behind Spurs and United, though.
No, I don't. No, I can't be 1 point.
Yeah, just 25, 26.
Oh, sorry. Yes, we're 1 point behind Spurs, but we're 4 points behind Chelsea.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I had that wrong. Yeah, we are only a point behind Spurs, but we are 4 points behind in terms of top 4, and Spurs are 3 points behind Chelsea.
That's a horrible table, isn't it? What is that?
I think it's brilliant.
Says the Liverpool fan.
Staying and upwards. Staying and upwards can just do what they want.
Says the Liverpool
but
fan.
Like below that, it's just a mess.
It's bad. Although, and we'll talk about two of the things. But like, what do you think? So, what do you think? What is your opinion on what is happening at Chelsea? Is this the beginning of a crisis? Because 4 losses in a row is, and we're not talking to big teams. Okay, well, City are, Everton. Okay, it was a push. It was a resurgence from Duncan Ferguson. But the fact they lost to West Ham away...
I was listening to some Chelsea fans.
And lost to Bournemouth.
Their defence is just bad. Like, I know Arsenal's defence is bad, but we haven't conceded as many as Chelsea, I'll tell you that. They've conceded, 25 plus goals this season. So...
You must be up there with the most conceded, I think.
Yeah. In the whole league, which is crazy. I think what Chelsea fans are saying is... Azpilicueta shouldn't be starting left back anymore. Shouldn't be starting right back anymore. Even put him at centre back. I remember when Chelsea did that a couple of seasons ago, and he got into the team of the season for that season. They're saying Reece James must start at right back. Tomori should be in there, and basically they don't have a good left back at all. Like, they thought that Emerson was going to be better than Marcos Alonso, but they just realised that he's a slightly better version of Marcos Alonso, and they're both bad. So I think in January, they have remember Nathan Ake plays at Bournemouth? There's a buyback clause on him, 40 million. So that could be an option for Chelsea, because they need to sort out that defence. Everything else is fine, to be honest, but the defence is awful. And their keeper,
Kepa.
he's like he reminds me of De Gea when he first started.
Isn't he the manager though?
Yeah, he's just
another Spanish fraud.
It's just a front. The Chelsea manager, it's just a skipper.
Yeah, they need to sort that out. They definitely should get Nathan Ake back on because they sold him, didn't they?
To Bournemouth.
Yeah, and then there's 40 million, which is like a steal if I'm honest. I think they should do that. But apparently it expires in January. Like they have to do it in January. So maybe they'll do that. They definitely need to sort that out though. Yeah. So yeah, they've had 4 losses out of their last 5 games.
Yeah, they just had that one win. Who was that win that they had? Yeah. I don't think it tells you, but like,
lost someone.
Oh no, it was Villa.
Was it?
Yeah, so they beat Villa. So like their loss was City. Obviously,
you know they're always going to concede.
2-1 against City isn't not terrible. They were playing away, and then you had the West Ham result, which was a 1-0. So they're not like getting blown away. But you just
Everton that one.
That one stung, didn't it? That one hurt. The Everton result.
This was the last 2. So Everton and even City was like I could understand.
Everton and
but
Bournemouth.
The loss to West Ham were very poor in form, and also the loss to Bournemouth at home. Those are the 2 ones that because those 2 teams were essentially going into those games with a terrible run of form. And the following week they got battered by Arsenal at West Ham, and Bournemouth had lost in the last 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, who are Chelsea playing next?
Yeah. Tottenham. Playing Spurs this
and we know their record against the top 6 that isn't good at all.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Get your Spurs players in.
Yeah.
And also take the Liverpool players out because their games have been postponed.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to play free. I can't.
I can't. I don't have any transfers left.
I have to play my free hit because I made a mistake.
Filthy animals, man! I can't believe that they should give you at least a couple of free transfers.
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
How are you meant to?
Unfortunately, you're supposed to prepare.
It's like imagine if you have 3 Liverpool players in your team, you can't get them all out.
Yeah. I've got some questions about that actually later about transfers because. When I first bought Mane, he was worth 11 million. He's worth 12.5 now, but it's telling me that I can sell him only for half the price as what he's worth now, and then when I buy him back, I have to buy him back for full price.
Yeah, exactly.
Filthy animals, man. What's that? I've shown such. Anyway, that's a chat for another time.
Just quickly into the comments. Sorry, Don Ragnar says good players evolve their style as they age. Özil looks like he doesn't give a shit anymore. Okay, fair enough. Monterey upset. Jamie says Monterey upset tomorrow versus Liverpool, calling it right now.
Who are they?
I think there's Liverpool
in Argentinian league or something.
I think that
Monterey.
Monterey. So I like to think so, Jamie. But given the fact that Liverpool haven't lost a game this season, what's the likelihood?
So what is the World Club Championship?
It's the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
So it's all basically the Champions League winners of each respective continents come in. So Africa, obviously Central America, South America, Asia, all the rest of it. So I think last year it was the Asian Champions League winners versus the European Champions League winners. So that's the point. But I think what they're trying to do. Oh, sorry, this was on Chelsea, but I think what they're trying to do, they're trying to make it a bigger competition. So trying to get other. So at least that's what they're trying to do. Anyway, so last point on Chelsea. So no crisis then, or no?
I think it definitely once again, I was the same a few podcasts ago when people were calling for out at Tottenham, out at United, and everything like that. Give Lampard a little bit more time. I think it's only 1-0s and 2-1 against City.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. It's a disappointing result, especially if you're losing against lower clubs. But it's not something that they can't get back. Mm. They can score a couple of goals and turn them into 2-1s. They've got Tammy Abraham, who's more than capable of banging a few in. They can turn it.
Yeah,
they can turn it. Yeah. No crisis just yet.
No crisis.
I
think if that form continues for the next 5 games, then you'd start thinking.
Or even next 3, because Tottenham, Man United, and Sheffield don't really look like losing. If you look at the form of the teams below,
or even Wolves. Wolves, Jimenez and everybody that.
If we look at Chelsea's next 3 fixtures. I'll get them up. So obviously they have Tottenham away on the 22nd December. They then have Southampton at home, which isn't going to be an easy game, especially if they lose into Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And then they have Arsenal away.
Ooh.
So those are the next three
Bit
games.
of a derby.
Spurs, and then the following game after that, I think the New Year's game is that they're Brighton. They have Brighton away. So those 4 games are not, with the way Chelsea are now, I don't think are easy.
Yeah, not definitely not easy, but yeah, like give them the next 5 games and then see what's going on and then maybe make a decision. But like you've got, I mean, everyone seems to be showing good form. Like I say, like that you could almost go all the way to 9th place. So you've got like sort of maybe 10th because Arsenal's 10th. Sorry, Arsenal. But yeah, like Crystal Palace, they're looking okay. They're grinding out results here and there. But they're all like sort of teams that are potential banana peels, like to the top 4, I think.
I agree. Well, Sheffield took points off a lot of them.
Yeah.
Took points off. Did they take points off City? Or they're not placed?
Could well have done. It was Man United. Their last 5 games was United 3-3.
Draw.
Wolves draw, which is good because Wolves are a brilliant team. Then they lost to Newcastle, which was strange. Then they won against Norwich, which seems to be the going rate, and then they beat Aston Villa. So it's just like either one of them teams, but it's not far off United. So United just have 1 draw compared to Sheffield Wednesday's 1 loss.
Look at Man United's form though, unbeaten in 5 at least.
Yeah. A lot of those have been draws, unfortunately, dropping points from winning positions as well, which has been fairly frustrating.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on from Chelsea quickly. Sorry, because we actually got lots to discuss. So I'm going to make the next 2 Premier League topics just quite quick. So just next, we're just going to talk about Leicester. I think one of the biggest surprises of the weekend was that Leicester, doing so well and potentially Liverpool's sort of closest title rivals, ended up drawing 1-1, and that was. The goal was actually an own goal somewhat to Norwich, at the King Power. Yeah. Is this basically it for Leicester City's title? They're now 10 points behind Liverpool. Is this it for Leicester City's title? If they had even the title.
I wouldn't tell them that. I'd just say that we're the only ones close. Keep going. I mean, that motivation is brilliant, isn't it? It's like we're closest to them. Let's keep fighting. Keep our
think about the last time they lost as well. It was a long time ago. Probably to Man United or someone, I can't remember. To Liverpool, I think. Some
good results. Away to Brighton, they won 2-0. Then they won at Everton at home, which Everton, they're just so annoying to play against. I mean,
to be honest, I think that Everton are probably the only team this season that can actually go and potentially beat Liverpool if Duncan Ferguson is still the manager.
Well, I don't think he will be.
If he's not the manager, then they're going to lose. But if he's still the manager, I feel like they're the two.
That's just treatment of Moise Keane. Well, Jeremy Carragher got a good analysis on that, but that's another topic anyway.
I mean, they were actually blown away it was 5-2, and the goals that they scored were just ridiculous. And
was that at Anfield?
At Anfield, yeah.
So at Goodison, I think.
It would be
Duncan
really tough.
Ferguson is still there. I think it will be a different. A different team. Yeah. Jamie sort of says. Jamie says Jamie Vardy was on his way to break his own record, but they called it an own goal. You hate to see it. Yeah, I know. I was annoyed actually by it because Jamie Vardy's in my fantasy Premier League team. Yeah. Kind of the points went to him, and then it was like actually it's an own goal.
They gave him 5 though for some reason.
Because he essentially assisted the goal.
Yeah, right.
So, but actually, initially it was a Maddison assist which would have got me points, and a Vardy. So I was a bit annoyed by that. But that's a shame. But you never know. There's still plenty of games left. And you can still probably score. So we'll see what happens. So Leicester. So basically, in summing for that, Leicester City still
keep going.
Fight. Yeah, 4
points ahead of City. Who would have said that?
Have they got City next? City on the 21st. So like this weekend.
So this weekend, Leicester City. That's going to be a game.
That's going to be a brilliant game.
See that game.
City have to win it. Like, yeah, I mean,
they're already out of the title race. Let's be real, surely. Like 14 points from Liverpool. Like, if they lose to Leicester, then.
Funnily enough, I'd quite like City to beat Leicester to put a bit of distance between us and Leicester as well. Like more.
So essentially, you're basically whoever wins this game, or someone's going to win this game. It's kind of like it's a win-win.
It's a win-win, yeah, kind of.
If City lose, then that's them essentially dead and buried. And if City win, then Leicester essentially dead and buried. So it's a win-win if you're a Liverpool fan. If you're a Scouser, everything is good. So everyone else, we'll have to see. Anyway, let's move on from Leicester. Let's quickly, before we go on to talk about some Serie A nonsense. Mourinho and Spurs. Mourinho, obviously, which was a bit frustrating, just managed to get that goal against Wolves. Do you think that Mourinho has actually turned around Spurs? Because they have still been conceding goals, or they've been winning games. Do you think he's turned them around?
When did he come in? 3 games ago.
It must be more than that, though.
Is it? So did he come in against the West Ham result? So he won 3-2 against West Ham.
Yeah.
So he's been in charge for 2. Wow, looks like a turnaround, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Win, loss, win. It's that's great form considering they were like 17th or it's just like silly, isn't it? 12. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So win against West Ham away as well, which is and Bournemouth winning. They're all naff results because obviously they conceded a lot of goals.
Well, see, that's the thing that concerns me, is that they are winning games. That's good, but they are still conceding quite a few goals. And as soon as
Mourinho, if anything, he can fix anything about a team. It's not conceding. He can do that. He just needs a bit of time, because then there was a 5-0 against Burnley. Okay, fair enough. You can say that's Burnley, but still, he didn't concede. That's when the son won the goal. He really brought the absolute best out of him. And then beating Wolves is a big one. Wolves are good. Like I know I keep saying it. I'm not like a Wolves fan.
But from what I can gather, Spurs were lucky. Like, I didn't watch the game, but from seeing some of the comments and stuff like that, Wolves actually called Spurs.
In a big game. So.
Yeah. I mean, well,
that's when you need Lucas Moura, don't you?
Yeah.
He scored.
I think he started.
Yeah, he
started.
He scored one.
Lucas Moura seems to be starting a lot under. I think it's Ericsson that seems to be being pushed out of the team.
Yeah.
And which might imply
he might be gone in
January.
Yeah.
So
get some money out of him before his contract expires.
Yeah. Well, unless Daniel Levy lets him go or not, so we'll have to see. But yeah. I think my just concern with Spurs is that, like, yes, they seem to put. Mourinho's got it good in that and why Spurs might finish top 4 is that at least he's beating the smaller teams. He's beating all the smaller teams and doing that well. And that's basically how you secure your top 4 position, is that you need to beat all the teams outside of the top 6, 7. So that's what he's doing.
That's what he's always been good at.
And he keeps on doing that. The Spurs will get top 4. My only thing with that is that, like, because they seem conceding a lot of goals, it will be in the big competition type stuff, where I think that he might struggle. And the first team in the top 6 that he played against, which was United, they lost. They'll have Chelsea.
Tight margin.
It was tight, and to be fair,
I think it was an emotional game for him, though.
Possibly, but I think that's why this weekend I think is going to be interesting, because obviously you're playing Chelsea. Lampard's going to be in charge. It's going to be at Stamford. I think it's at Stamford Bridge. I think it is.
Yeah. Well, Tottenham are playing Brighton first, and then they're playing.
No, they're playing Chelsea this weekend.
Are they?
I think go back.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, they're playing Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, aren't they?
Stamford Bridge, yeah.
So that's going to be an interesting narrative, because obviously Lampard was one of Mourinho's star players.
Sorry, yeah, they're playing. Yeah, so they're playing Chelsea at home. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Yeah.
So Mourinho will be going back to Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
With a Spurs team.
No, sorry, Spurs are at home.
Oh, Spurs are
Sorry, yeah, that's
okay.
Sorry, I finally got it right.
Okay.
But yeah, Spurs are at home, so
That should be fine then.
Yeah.
I was concerned that it was going to be at Stamford Bridge, because at Stamford Bridge, I know the reception that Mourinho will probably get at Stamford Bridge is going to be even worse than it would be than it was last time with United. Because it was one thing to be like, it's one thing to go to Manchester United. It's another thing to go to Spurs and be their manager. So I think he's going to get quite a bit of abuse there. But if it's at Spurs, I think Lampard might struggle. So, but we'll see. But the general consensus summary that I think we gather is that things have been A-OK for Mourinho, and things are going up. Anyway, moving on quickly. So we're going to give this a brief segment, but because we're just going to briefly steer into Serie A before we go and talk about the other sort of the Champions League, Europa League, key games from those, and then preview, and that'll be quicker. Is this Serie A interesting anti-racism posters that essentially, as you can see from here, they're all apes, monkeys, whatever, and Serie A thought that this would be a good thing to start a campaign on racism in Serie A. Now, I'm not really sure who spoke to who, if there was anyone high, maybe some prostitutes were involved. I've got no idea what was going on. It's Italy, so like it's
Barney
Italy.
designed the picture.
But I'm very perplexed as to how on earth how on earth they came to really this decision that this was a good idea. Please tell me in the comments, in the chat, whatever. Like, I don't really understand. Team Takage Shoni, like, just what's going on in Serie A? I don't get
it. Go for it, Team Takage.
Yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do. I just think I just think Italian people are kind of backwards. That's all I think it is. I don't know if they're actually trying to be racist or whatever, but I just think they're so backwards that they don't. It's like when because the thing is with Italy, there are a fair amount of black people in Italy compared to places like like Russia and Eastern Europe, where you don't have where you see a lot of that happening as well at football games, but like there aren't that many. So sometimes you can kind of like think, oh well, they don't really know how to act around those kind of people. Maybe they're not educated. But Italy, there's plenty of black people. There's plenty of foreigners over there. So you just think these people must just be so backwards that they don't even realise what they're doing. That's the only reason I can think of.
You gave an explanation earlier on. I still, like, I'm looking at the picture now. I don't know what's going on. Like, still from the picture, you would never think that this is an anti-racism poster.
You think it's the opposite?
Yeah. It's a quite bizarre thing.
Let me read. Let me read what the. I think there's a statement from the author. Jamie says, "Don't know where they were going with this. I don't know where they're going with it too, if I'm perfectly honest. And some of the Italian clubs as well, like AC Milan and Roma. Like AC Milan say, art can be powerful. We strongly disagree with the use of monkeys' images in the fight against racism, and we're surprised by the total lack of consultation." So that's another thing. So for some reason, they didn't even discuss it with the. With the teams, not all the teams. Roma is saying was very surprised to see what appears to be an anti-racist campaign featuring painting monkeys on some music. We understand he wants to attack racism, but we don't believe this is the right way to do it. So clearly the teams in Serie A weren't consulted. The artist at a news press conference, who's called Simone Fugazzotto, who always, to be fair, says he always uses monkeys in his work. Okay, so that's apparently his work. He always uses monkeys.
So what are they asking?
Well, I don't. Apparently, says for an artist, there's nothing more important than trying to change the perception of things through his own work. I decided to portray monkeys to talk about racism because they are the metaphor for human beings. Last year, I was at the stadium to see Inter versus Napoli, a match which Napoli defended because was racially abused, and I felt humiliated. Everyone was shouting Monkey Koulibaly, a player I respect. I've always been painting monkeys for 5 to 6 years, so I thought I'd make this work to teach that we're all apes, I made the Western monkey with blue and white eyes, the Asian monkey with almond-shaped eyes, the black monkey positioned in the center where everything comes from. The monkey becomes the spark to teach everyone that there is no difference, there is no man or monkey, we're all alike, if anything, we are all monkeys. So that was the statement that's coming from the website, so it might be cut.
It's incorrect.
Yeah,
But yeah.
we're not monkeys, so I can see where he's coming from, but
I mean, that's the thing. I'm not one to say that we're ancestors of monkeys anyway. So it's not only scientifically correct, but it's morally incorrect as well. So it's not scientifically incorrect, but it's also morally incorrect by my standards. So it's just something that I look at and I'm just like, that's like a strange thing. I remember the Liverpool had one where you had two children holding hands, and one of them was black and the other one was white, and it was like two kids, and that was like kind of like a poster thing.
just like keep it simple. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, and I just thought that was a nice gesture. It was just like two young kids holding hands, just like something like that, just like saying that.
Jamie Villapano, OMG. Are you OMGing to the poster?
Well, yeah, I'm Gina.
Are you OMGing to the poster or to our comments? Please let us know. Please let us know in the comments, Jamie, if it's the or are you OMGing to the statement that I basically just sort of said by the artist.
The thing is, isn't Italy like the best place at art? Like, this is the only person that they have like available.
The only thing I'll say, in fairness players to the
Haaland's
artist
Instagram
is that.
story, he says.
Sorry.
He says, have a look at Haaland's Instagram story. We'll get that up.
We'll get to Haaland's Instagram story. Okay.
I'll do it. We'll let Old Man G.
I will post if it's confirmed Haaland to United. That is a video going now as soon as the podcast is over. Which wouldn't surprise me. What I would say about this thing though is that I don't actually blame the artist, because he has said that he always does work with monkeys. That's 5 to 6 years. So his artist work is not going to change.
Yeah.
Who I blame is Serie, the leader of Serie, who single-handedly, or the chairs or whatever, who single-handedly decided, you know what, we're going to decide that this is going to be the slogan for the anti-racism campaign without consulting any teams. Teams are loading up Haaland's Instagram.
I'm not too sure what's going on there.
I think. So basically, he had a thing of him signing different shirts. So the first one was Man United. The second one was Salzburg. The third one looked like, don't know what.
Like a blue
jersey.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a Leeds one he signed, a Napoli one.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on. Where we belong?
Where we belong, I don't know.
Explain it, please, Jamie. We're all confused here.
He's
He's
seems a
signing
bit
a bunch
like.
of shirts.
Is it?
Man United one was first.
Yeah.
So all I've got is that Erling Haaland has a picture signing Manchester United shirts.
Unfortunately, what he actually
signing other shirts. Too.
What he actually wrote on the Man United shirt was rather be at Liverpool.
So there is a photo of him signing a Manchester United shirt that I've loaded up. But he's signing but it appears that he's signing loads of other shirts. So whether or not that's actual confirmation is that he's signing for Manchester United, I'm not. James, I'm so confused.
Sorry, Jamie, man.
The Daily Mail is saying that Manchester United are close to signing him for about 76 million, which I think is a joke.
76.
We got 76 million. I can't.
Where did they get this money from?
I can't believe that we would be.
It's just like,
I can't believe we'd be signing him for 76 million, Jack. But then it says, but we'll have to loan him back for the rest of the season. So I don't understand at the door. How can we be spending?
It's to be fair, it's similarly what we did with Keita. So we bought Keita for a whole bunch of money and then loaned him back to.
Spent 76 million on Keita.
53 or something like that.
Was it? Yeah, I thought it was like 70 odd. Yeah.
50
Yeah.
So I mean, no, I will post a video. I'll post a video actually.
I saw a story and he's clickbaiting other people.
Who?
Jamie. I've just seen his story. Stop clickbaiting people, Jamie. I've just seen your story.
Don Wagner back into that says, when we had Moyes, his connections could only get Fellaini to play the long game. Ollie's connections seem to only be landing him a Haaland Drago. More long football to come.
Fellow
Yeah.
Norwegian, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to be
It's
fair,
working.
he's been doing well in the Champions League and Spurs, so we'll see. And we do need another forward, just for added depth. But there are a lot of other areas that United need to work on. Anyway, I think last points on this interesting poster. Guys, anything else to say?
I think they should have just
Not
gone
for
about
me.
Artist, shouldn't they? It was the wrong approach. They probably thought they were trying to be clever. In fact, I don't know what they were trying to think. I can't. They're too backwards for me. They
No,
think like that.
Not for
I don't
me.
think. I don't think they were.
But I just think, why didn't they not consult or at least speak to the other Serie A teams and be like, guys, do you think this is a good idea?
It's one of those things where they probably thought it was such a great idea that let's just do it. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you
What could go
remember
wrong?
the Mr. Bean movie where he messes up the Mona Lisa painting? And everyone's like, oh, what?
Yeah. Yeah, not for me. Like I say, I mean, scientifically and morally, it's not. I understand that this guy paints monkeys all the time, but to ask him to do a campaign on racism, that needed to be taken into consideration, and maybe go off his roots of artwork. Artists are supposed to be able to adapt and express in different ways. So like I understand what he was trying to do, but just not for me. It's just his opinion. That's the problem. He's supposed to do it on a scale that's globally attractive to.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I don't think I blame the artist per se, because he's always used. There are probably other pieces of monkey work that he's used to explain other things, so to speak. So because that's maybe his art form. Yeah. So I don't blame the artist per se. I blame the Serie A chiefs who thought that, because ultimately they chose the artist. So I just don't really understand. Georgia B, I'm Italian and don't understand it either. Is there any, Georgia B, could you give us at least a bit of context? Maybe, because we are struggling to, I personally feel, as I've said, is that I don't blame the artist. I really don't. All I think is just that, why did the Serie A chiefs not consult the other teams, and why did they think that this was a good idea? Like, you don't pick a guy who. There are plenty of artists in Italy. They dress flowers, or you can use flowers. There's so many things. You're not gonna run out. So why do you think? You know what I'm gonna do? We're gonna walk along the street, and that guy is painting monkeys. That's the guy, so that we're going to sort of use. It's strange. It's very, very strange. So, but yeah, Georgia B, if you could give us a shout as to why it's in Serie A, so let me know, because it's very, very strange. Just some of your comments again. Chelsea bought Pulisic last January and loaned him back to Dortmund. Yeah, they did, but the only thing is that, like, spending 76 million though, I don't know. I think that's a bit too much. I think that's too much. And Jamie is still trolling. From what I can gather, is that I think you're trolling, Jamie. I think you're trolling. Don Wagner says, I'm half Italian, and yes, unfortunately, it's no secret that racism runs deep in some Italian cities. It's a shame. It's a shame. It really, really is a shame. Dortmund 3, RB Leipzig 3. That would have been a good game to watch.
We were watching that before we came over.
Oh, that would have been a good game. Sorry. That's why no one's here. They've been watching that game, or like they're watching in the background. I'll probably watch the highlights. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to move on from this, and we're quickly going to talk about this is the big event. So thank you for those who are tuning in. This is the big event here, and this is the Champions League draw. Okay, the Champions League draw was drawn yesterday. We were going to do a review it yesterday, but we had an event going on, so we're doing it today. So as you can see in the image below, you can see the Champions League draw. There are a lot of big games, most notably Dortmund, PSG, Real Madrid, City, and even Liverpool, Athletic, Madrid. So just because we've got this and a bit of the Europa League and Premier League to go through, I'm going to go around this table we'll just give sort of score predictions and why. We can talk a bit about why. So I think I'll start with Team Takage in Dortmund versus PSG, and put your thoughts in the comments as well, guys. We'll read them out.
Yeah, put your predictions for each of the games in the comments because you can see them on screen. I think Borussia Dortmund and PSG might be the most exciting tie. Dortmund have an amazing home record, and we know what the yellow wall, the fans. We know what kind of atmosphere it is, and obviously PSG. PSG have been. They wanted, this Champions League title is coveted for a while now. They keep getting knocked out. Have they made it past the last 16? They haven't, have they?
They haven't made it past the last 16 the last 3 seasons. So before that was Zlatan and co. Then yes, they got to the quarterfinals.
And then that's as far as they've been.
The last 3 seasons they haven't made it past the last 16. They were knocked out by Barcelona, Real Madrid, and then an academy-based Manchester United squad.
We know that PSG are going to score against Dortmund, so that that away goal is going to be vital. But I think if Dortmund can get like 3 goals at their home ground, which is more than possible with Marco Reus, Jadon Sancho, Thorgan Hazard, etc., Julian Brandt, then it could be a great tie. Like I think the first leg could be Dortmund win. But I think PSG is going to win overall. But yeah, I think Dortmund with the home win and then PSG with the overall aggregate score.
So you don't think PSG will bottle it?
Not against Dortmund. Dortmund are a passionate team, which could be the thing that can pull them through, but their defence is shocking. At the end, Hummels, which I don't know why they signed him back. Whose idea was that?
I'm not sure.
Zagadou, sounds like a Lion King character that didn't get cast, So PSG are going to win that one overall. Next one is Real Madrid.
Any other comments? Any other comments from you guys in the comment section for PSG Dortmund? And just a brief thing, but do you Sean? Do you think we'll just talk a bit about these because these are big games. Do you think that PSG will do it?
I got it. Oh yeah, I don't know. Borussia Dortmund could have the potential to upset them. It's just that PSG. Neymar loves them big games, doesn't he? He always turns up for them. So I don't know. I don't think anyone's unhappy with their draw. By the way, can I just say that as well? Because it looks like everyone is sort of quite evenly matched. It's very Valencia against Atlanta. It's kind of like that. They're kind of very evenly matched. The only one that's not evenly matched is Liverpool against Atletico Madrid. watch us get knocked out by them now. But yes, Leipzig, Tottenham. I think Tottenham will have a tough game against Leipzig. Are they top now? By the way, I think Leipzig are top. Yeah. So German team top of the Bundesliga. It's a big one for Tottenham, and now with Mourinho at the helm, that's going to be an interesting match as well. Everything's evenly back. It's a really good round 16. It's gonna be really fun to watch. But yeah, back to Paris Saint-Germain. I think they've got the quality to go through against Dortmund. So I don't.
Might get the quality to go through against United.
Yeah, well, I mean that was a huge turnaround because United.
They had the quality to go through against United, didn't? And they had a 5-0 their deficit. They had a 5-0 gap against. This is I'm gonna move on to it quickly, but my issue with PSG has always been just mentality. Is that do they really want it? And yes, they have the team, but is there now a psychological element to it there?
Yeah,
that team's a lot different.
I don't know. You'd think that you learn, don't you?
Got a good CDM, very good CDM.
What, just a game?
Very good. Okay. I think that's been their difference the whole Champions League campaign. I don't think they've lost.
They almost lost against Real Madrid.
Yeah, but that's the thing again, the fight as well to come back in that game because I think they were 2 or 3-0, 2-0 down maybe, and they're bringing it 2.
And there was 1 or 2 mistakes by Real Madrid guys though.
So I think PSG are a bit different this season. They look like they are more of a threat, I think, by far. But we'll see.
We'll see. Let's put it this way: I expect them to go through, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lost. And especially because I think the home game is going to be at the Yellow Wall in Dortmund. So if Dortmund they'll concede, and clearly Dortmund have a problem because they've always conceded 3 goals against Leipzig at home. So they probably will concede. I just don't know. There's a doubt in my mind that says that PSG, there's just something there. Like they could just have a bad game, something I don't know. Neymar will probably be injured again in time for his sister's birthday, isn't it? Around that time. So you just you just don't know, So anyway, Shawnee. So what do you think about Real Madrid City?
Yeah, it's a good one. Like once again, it's I don't know, are Barcelona running away with the with La Liga?
No, they're level on points.
Level on points. Okay.
It's El Clasico on Wednesday if it's going to be played.
That's going to say tomorrow.
We should be talking about. We might be a brief mention towards the end. So
yeah.
It's more for sake of time.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, City, Real Madrid. It's almost a tough one. I don't think Real Madrid is as bad as what people make out. Sometimes I think they've still got a lot of quality there.
That's what I said too.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah. You don't want to be up against them really.
No.
Man City. Hopefully by the time they meet, when's this happening? When are these guys playing? February. Okay. Yeah. So hopefully by then City have sort of got their season back on track again, and then they got a few of the injured players like Aguero and people like that back. Maybe even Sané. When's Sané coming back? Is he just out?
I think Sané looks like he's out for a while.
Is he?
Yeah. I'm surprised if he's not out until at least towards the end of the season.
Oh my days! That's terrible.
The thing with City, like Real Madrid are drawing, level on points with Barca. This is City's last hurrah. What else can they win this season? They can win the Carabao Cup. They might win the FA Cup, but like that's not good enough for
City,
people might be questioning like, is Pep like had enough here? Like, is he good enough? They're never going to win it. It seems like if they can't get past Real Madrid here, this is the last 16. We're not even talking about the next bit. They're probably thinking, well, I need to have a conversation with you, Pep. The owners. They were like, well, are we going to get a Champions League here? Yeah. I mean, their owners have more money than sense anyway, so they're probably not that bothered. But do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, this is really like desperation time for me. I think with City.
I think it seems to be both. That's why I think this game is very interesting, because I think both Madrid and I think both City have a lot to lose in this sense. Because I think the only thing that really is the difference between Real Madrid and City is that Real Madrid are still somewhat in a title race. That's what I'm saying, yeah. So that's the only thing. So it's still bad in the sense that when was the last time Real Madrid got knocked out of the round of 16?
That's why I think, yeah.
Was it last season actually? No. I think they got to the quarter and they were knocked out by Ajax. So it'll probably see this regression, but they've got whereas as you said, City, if they get knocked out by Real, well. Sean, what did you think? Who do you think is going to win this game? Let me know in the comments as well,
tough. Guys. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what other people think actually, because it's quite a tough one to call. I mean, I'll go City go through, because Pep obviously knows the Spanish teams quite well. And he probably has some good insight that might help City tactically in both games, whether they're at home or away, to prepare his players. So I'm gonna go City, because Pep isn't fraudiola. He does know what he's doing, and he'll probably really inform his team on what to do. So I'm gonna go City winning both legs, not comfortably, but I just think City winning both legs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just for your comments, I think Jamie for the PSG results said first leg 1-1, then 2-1 to PSG second leg, and then George says Dortmund Leipzig 3-3. Fair enough. So
I think it was today.
Oh, today, yes.
Yeah,
sorry, yeah, fine. And then just quickly, I think I would say maybe the smaller results. Atalanta, Valencia. I'm probably gonna give that I'll probably give that to Valencia actually. I think just because of the experience. Sorry, and then I'll give this back to Sean. Liverpool FC versus Atletico Madrid. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Atletico Madrid once again are not a bad team. I think Liverpool, now that we're in the last 16 again, we seem to just enjoy these games, these knockout games. So it's just momentum, and we just come out the gates fighting, and we're just ferocious in these last 16. So I just hope we can continue doing that even this season, and we'll really, really shock Atletico. So I don't know whether it's going to be comfortable again, but I would say that maybe Liverpool come away with narrow leads on each of them. I mean, I wouldn't complain if we went there. If we went there and we got a 1-1 draw,
That's good,
and then we came back to Anfield with a 1-1. I think that's still a brilliant result. But I fancy Liverpool here. Maybe I'll say that we'll do a 1-1 away, and then we come back to Anfield and we beat them 2-0.
Okay. Fair enough. Right. So team to Kagis quickly. Chelsea, Bayern Munich.
I mean, obviously Chelsea finished second, but this is probably one of the worst teams they could face. Bayern are deadly, especially with a defense like Chelsea has. You know,
Bayern's defense isn't nothing to be.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah.
I mean, they lost to Gladbach, who can't even catch a break.
Yeah, they're doing. I know, but they're doing but Gladbach are doing awful in the Europa League. So it's the same with Bayern Munich. Yeah. Bayern Munich are doing fantastic in the Champions League. They haven't lost a game. The only team who hasn't lost a game. Lewandowski, highest scorer, and I think Lewandowski's just gonna have a field day against that Chelsea team, home and away. I don't think Chelsea got enough, genuinely. Okay. Unless if Chelsea can get they're not going to keep a clean sheet. So, but if they can get a 3-1 at would you call it Stamford Bridge, then it's possible. Yeah. But they're going to need a 2-goal lead, I reckon. So.
We're saying that Lewandowski's on fire, but when has Lewandowski ever stepped up in the group stage in the draw in the after? Because we know he's on fire in the group stages, but I've always had an issue with Lewandowski in that when it comes to the big teams and also the big occasions, he seems to go missing for his club and his country.
Yeah, it's just time to. It's he's 30 odd now, so it's just he can't. If he doesn't perform here, then. For me, he's just a fraud. So, but I think
forward in terms of needs to go into tier 3.
No,
tier 3 banter. No, okay.
Because he's a goal scorer, but it's like Hazard,
quality.
All right, he can play against Burnley at home, and he's the best player, but we'll see. So Bayern Munich for me, home and away.
Okay. So next on this, and I'll quickly do as well because Juve Lyon. As much as Lyon will have a bit of the fight, I still give it to Juventus. I think they'll have enough to go through on both legs. Maybe Lyon might be able to win it at home, but I think Juventus will see past this. So I don't think that's an issue really. Sean, Tottenham, Leipzig.
Man, I'm getting really tough games.
Sorry, James says Atalanta 4-2 in aggregate.
Fair enough. Yeah, might have called it.
Don't know about that.
They're tough games. I think Jose Mourinho having so much Champions League experience might just pull them through. But then Leipzig, they're really, really, really pushing the Bundesliga right now. So they're probably really, really confident. Coming out to England will be really exciting for them. So I don't think they'll win at Tottenham. Tottenham probably give them a good run for their money. Can Leipzig squeeze through? I don't know, because Jose is he's very, very good tactically when it comes to these kind of knockout stages, isn't he? So I don't know. I'll go for a bit of a shock, and I'll just say Leipzig going through.
Okay.
Not comfortably. They'll just squeeze through.
Nagelsmann is a very, very good coach.
Yeah.
And I think he doesn't draw a lot of attention to himself. In fact, I would have thought it would have been a nice future coach for Arsenal, to be honest. So because like he likes working with young players. He's almost, I wouldn't say he's similar to Klopp in terms of star philosophy, but like, you know, it's the whole kind of uses more resources to get a lot out of him and seem to coach well. And he's a very young coach as well, so you know that you've got longevity with him. I think he's just turned 30.
I think he's younger than Messi.
He's 30. I think he's literally just turned 30.
30 or 32.
You know, and like, so, because I mean, if he does win the Bundesliga, he will probably be the youngest manager to ever win the Bundesliga.
He might be the youngest manager to ever win like
a major trophy.
Yeah.
That's
How old is he?
30,
he's just turned 30.
He can play.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I was doing. Is like, no, guys, do it like this. Don't make me come on the field. Yeah, you can always, if we're doubt, like, you know, like, yeah, we don't have like, I don't know, we don't have like a particular player in defence. Like, yeah, I can play defence. We'll just walk on. So I shouldn't underestimate him. And then lastly, Team Takage. Before we quickly go into Europa League, Barcelona, Napoli. Barca easy.
Yeah, no doubt. Especially with what's going on in Napoli at the minute. Okay. They're a very good team, but Barcelona have got too much. When's the last time Barcelona went on the last 16? Come on. Yeah. I can't. Can anyone remember? Is there a time?
When was it that they got absolutely smashed by?
Liverpool. Who's that team?
Let me just bring that back up again.
Quick corner.
No. It was Bayern Munich. It was like 8-0 on aggregate.
Was it?
You remember that?
That was a while ago.
Yeah, they got smashed there. So
when was that?
Must have been a while ago.
Like five seasons ago or something.
I can't remember the last time they got through to they went to final. I think the last final was probably in 2013, 14. I think since then
they beat Juve.
Yeah, and then and that was I think the year before Real Madrid went on their run. Yeah, so they beat Juve. And then Real Madrid won it 3 times in a row, and then Liverpool then won. So they haven't been to a final for at least 4 years.
Villa battered Liverpool's on the 9s.
which is true. Which is true. I mean, but I don't think anyone can really like. It just means that they won't win a quadruple. But I mean, who really cares? Ultimately.
Does that mean Villa are better than Arsenal? Because I think Villa made changes too.
I think the change, but I think Liverpool made changes to even the changes of that youth squad, because some of those youth players actually went to something to some of those actually went to.
This is legal, like
because
you can't play that many.
Because obviously, you had to take a 19-man squad to the Club World Cup, so they would have had obviously the regular start and Netherlands, and they would have to take in some from the youth team to it as well. So then they would have made changes for then that squad, and then they would have to have people on the bench for that team as well. Yeah. So you have to now go into academy kind of to sort of get to fill 2 teams. Yeah. No, I'm sure it was at Ankles. I'm sure Villa away, and that's the only thing. It was at Villa away, which probably didn't help. Anyway, moving on quickly. So obviously the slightly lesser competition of the Europa League. We're not going to review all the different matches because I want to specifically just focus on the British teams actually. Sorry, no offense, guys. Unless any of you guys in the comments have any specific games outside the British teams that you want us to review, let us know. James says the average age was 19 years old today. 19 years old in the Liverpool game.
Yeah,
19 years.
That's including the manager.
So quickly for the league games, Wolverhampton, so Wolves, who are very, 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 very impressive. They actually got through to the qualifying stage. Fair play to them.
They smashed them, didn't they? Wasn't it like a massive? Wasn't like
it was 4-0 or something, and 4-0 as well. So, but they're going to be playing against Espanyol. How do you think that's going to go? Team Takage 1, and in the comments, guys,
they're playing Spain or.
Espanyol.
Espanyol. or
No,
Spanish?
No, I think Espanyol are actually doing quite well in La Liga
Okay.
this season. Yeah, I think they're like 5th or something.
Okay,
5th,
that's not bad.
5th, 6th or something like
Yeah.
that. They're
Yeah.
hovering around that sort of area, I think.
I think Wolves are great, man. That Nuno Espirito, I can't say his name. He's brilliant. Like, I know he was linked with Arsenal at one point. I was like, why would he do that? He's built this club from the ground up, got them promoted, got them into the Europa League. Why would he want to leave? So I think fair play to him. Whatever they've got to. I can't remember last time Wolves was in the Europa League, but he's got them through to the knockout stages pretty comfortably, and I think they're going to go on and go quite far. To be honest, I would be very scared if I was the English team because they can meet in the semis. I would be very scared if Wolves get to the semis and you play Wolves.
Sorry, can I just quickly correct myself? Espanyol is actually rock solid bottom of the Liga with 10 points.
All right, Wolves, you know what to do.
So
with a minus 20 goals against them.
So this is going to be a walkthrough. I think that's unless there's some sort of dramatic change, and they're just.
It's so funny. I went onto the La Liga table, and I just couldn't find. I kept on scrolling and scrolling. I couldn't find Espanyol, and they were like absolutely nestled rock solid
Type the
bottom.
wrong league.
Yeah.
Chris.
So Wolves, that's Wolves. I got that.
Chris Mateague, shout out to you guys. Thank you for joining the chat. We have just for those who are just joining us, we have just had a quick discussion regarding Arsenal's woes, Chelsea, Spurs, and Leicester. Had a brief talk about the monkey posters in Serie, Italy, and then we just previewed some of the Champions League games before back. And now we're briefly just going through the some of the key Europa League games. So that's where we are. It seems like Wolves are gonna blitz through that. We anticipate.
Yeah.
So round of 16 for Wolves, then fair enough.
Well, fair play. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like they haven't really had this type of experience, but just ended up absolutely smashing it. I mean 4-0 against a Wolves that's inexperienced in that kind of realm of European football. It's brilliant. Like well done to them. Like fair play. Like they are playing with confidence even against Premiership teams. So Espanyol should be an absolute breeze for them. Like so.
I mean, the issue. I mean, am I wrong in saying that possibly Wolves are the strongest British team left potentially
in Europa?
Yeah, because when you look at United and Arsenal,
I think Man United.
I don't know. I think I'm always scared to go to walk away.
Arsenal have also won it in previous years, like back in the day.
Under Wenger?
No.
Oh, okay.
What's his name before that? We've won it. I can't remember how many times. Maybe once.
Olympiacos. Are you happy with that?
Yep. So let's go to that. Arsenal versus Olympiacos.
No, because they've beaten us in the Champions League, I believe.
And you're playing Olympiacos, but you're playing Olympiacos away first.
Yeah, that's not good. Like that's those. We've got a Greek friend we play football with on a Thursday, and he was telling me about how crazy their fans are. Like that's a hostile atmosphere to go to. Yeah. Arsenal look like our timid players. Can you really think they would?
So, do you think this is basically the end of Arsenal's Europa League journey?
It depends. Obviously, this is in February around then.
Yeah.
It depends what happens from now until... I wouldn't even say February. From now until January. End of January. We got to see what we're made of, because if we do get Arteta or whoever we get, is it just going to be another Unai Emery? Or are we going to get some fight? Because he's not going to change the whole team, is he? Because we haven't got, an unlimited budget, but... We'll just see. But genuinely, lads, I don't think... I just think Arsenal don't have enough.
Who the hell is Lask Zinsk? Zins? Linz?
Where?
Lask Linz.
They're playing AZ Alkmaar.
I don't know what that is.
Lask Linz. I think that might
They sound like spells, like both of them teams.
I think
yeah, was that? I've never heard of that.
Swedish team.
They're Swedish? Fair play. Okay.
I think I have a quick look.
Yeah.
Although Google's saying Nope.
Yeah.
No, Austrian.
Austrian, fair enough.
I think
They're
Olympiacos.
actually second in the Austrian Bundesliga, so I think they're behind Salzburg.
Oh, right.
Ooh.
So they're not like.
Not that bad, so they're not a walkover team. Fair enough.
Yeah, so
I've never heard of
And they beat Sporting.
So good.
I think Olympiacos.
They beat
They
Sporting.
beat Sporting Lisbon.
When?
And Wolfsburg.
What, in the last round?
Yeah. And then that's when they beat in Europa League group stage, yeah, and then they beat and I think last year they beat Wolfsburg as well. So this isn't. I don't think. This is not a.
Either way, I think it'll be a good game for Arsenal, Olympiacos, especially away as well.
No, I think Olympiacos is going to win at home.
Oh, really?
And then Arsenal will win at home. So it just depends
Tight
how many you
game.
score, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. I haven't given a
keep it
prediction.
to you need to give a prediction here. Do you
No.
think that Arsenal will go through?
Probably not.
Okay.
Unless something changes from now until January.
Okay. So
February.
as things stand now, you think if things stay the same, Arsenal will be eliminated?
Yeah, I mean, we beat West Ham just.
Okay.
No, like what is that?
Full stop.
Yeah.
So Arsenal. So essentially, what you're saying, and then going to Takaki, is that because if Arsenal basically get knocked out of Europa League, Arsenal's season is essentially. Maybe then they might have a good FA Cup run. Don't know, but then potentially their season.
They won't get into that top four, so it doesn't matter.
But I mean, it'll be a trophy. Is the point?
Nah, we don't care about that.
So then,
Not enough FA Cup.
so essentially, your season will be over by February then.
Yeah, and then people are just going to give up. Players like Ozil, he's going to continue streaming Fortnite or whatever he does. So,
Actually, Jamie did a good prediction there. 2-2-1 away and then 2-2 at home. Like you go out on one goal.
On away goals.
yeah, that's a good prediction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we come to Manchester United, I'll be doing a separate video with my predictions with Club Brugge. Let's quickly look at the other British teams. So Celtic versus Copenhagen.
Do some good beer in Copenhagen.
They do.
That's about all that I know about them. I don't really know much else about them. But Celtic, they're a good team. They seem to enjoy themselves in Europe as well. So you could hopefully it'll be another win for the Brits. I don't know. Like, it might be quite hostile going over to Copenhagen.
They're quite. I think it'll be difficult.
Passionate team.
I think it'll be difficult.
Yeah, score prediction.
But it'll also be passionate in Glasgow. So
Yeah,
that's the thing. So if anything, I think they might be slightly more passionate in Glasgow. So,
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I'll. Why not? I'll go Celtic. Celtic go through. They do a 1-1 away, and then at Celtic it's a 3-1 at Celtic.
Cool. And then lastly, Team Takage 1. Rangers versus Sporting Braga.
You want them to go through, don't you? But Braga, good Portuguese team, might have won the cup in the past couple of years. You'd want Rangers to go through, but we'll see what they're made of, won't they? Morelos is the big game player, as we see.
They're made of Stephen G.
He seems to get red cards though.
Yeah, we'll just see. I'm gonna have faith in Rangers and Stevie G, but that'll be a good game.
Yeah,
that's about it. So
okay. So I'm gonna quickly give I'm gonna post a separate video about this on the channel. So United Club Brugge. So obviously Club Brugge did drop, like similar to Olympiacos. They're one of the teams that dropped into the Europa League via the Champions League. They actually held Real Madrid to a draw, although frankly, to be honest, with the way Real Madrid were playing at that point, I would even thought that Manchester United could have beaten Real Madrid at Bernabeu because they were that bad. And Courtois was probably bordering on tier 2 in the academy right now. So he's gone back to he's gone to tier 3. He's not completely out of the banter academy yet. He's tier 3, but at that time, Courtois was at least tier 2. I mean, we don't want to talk about who's in tier 1 yet. So, but it's going to be difficult. And again, the issue with United has always been, and I'm sure Club Brugge researchers, that we struggle to break things down. The only thing I would say that gives it to me that possibly United might go for is that poor Pogba will be fit by February.
Oh, really?
So so like he should be fit right now, but there's like I know people say, oh, he's not going to play for Club and blah blah blah, but he will be playing for Manchester United in February. He will be. There's no doubt about that. So
when are you hoping to have him back, like next couple of games?
at least before the start of the new year.
Yeah. Okay.
But we expect that Paul Pogba will be fit. So if Paul Pogba is fit, then I want to see how Manchester United play with Paul Pogba in that number 10 role with Fred and McTominay. We shouldn't really. In an ideal world, to be honest, we shouldn't be playing with two holding midfielders, which is what Fred and McTominay essentially are doing now.
Yeah.
We should have one holding midfielder, i.e. either McTominay or Fred, and then a box-to-box, which Fred was, but now doesn't seem to be anymore, and then Pogba. So I would like him to play McTominay, Fred and Pogba, but allow Fred a bit more creativity to go forward, McTominay to hold, and then Pogba to be number 10. And if we do that, then we've got a shout and to create something. So in that sense, assuming Pogba is playing, I think we should be able to beat Club Brugge and see where we go. I think United, this is assuming, but if Pogba's not playing, then I don't know where the creativity is going to come from. And in which case, we might struggle to beat them because we won't be able to break them down. So Jamie sent me on Twitter just before we go into the Premier League thing, saying after the photos of alarm was leaked of him signing a Manchester United shirt, he quickly posted a series of photos of him signing shirts so to cover up the leak. The photos he posted of MSC1, he was wearing a different outfit and the same person was holding the shirts. All photos of the MSC shirt signing were taken in the same place. Also, the shirts used are shirts that he would own naturally, shirts of international teammates as his favorite teammate Leeds. Okay, so yeah, it's strong. It's definitely strong. I'll definitely post a video on it because I guess it does come in as to why would you actually sign a Manchester United T-shirt?
It's true. I mean, he might have been.
And all the other shirts were like, as you said, connected in some sort of way to him. We would have had, etc. But like, why? Could
have just been a United fan, just like saying, can you sign it? Because I'd love to have you at the club. Just as a laugh.
Possibly.
Maybe, I don't know.
Possibly.
It's probably covered it up because it's for legal reasons.
So that's
he probably got excited.
Because that's the thing. So in my mind, it's like the whole process is there sort of to try and cover up legal thing because. But anyway, more on that later. Not on this. Not in this stream. So, lastly, as we finish, and we'll quickly finish because I don't want the stream to be too long because we're going for a while. Is the upcoming Premier League fixtures. So obviously Saturday, Sunday. There's some big games coming in thick and fast. And the first one to view, which is at 12:30, is Arsenal away to Everton. Team Takagi 1. What are your thoughts on this game?
Depends if we have a manager.
Big D.
You're not going to have a manager by the weekend, no doubt.
If we don't have a manager, if Ljungberg's still in charge, then it could be a pasting. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, have you seen how good he's playing under Big D?
Big D.
You know what I mean? Like he's a bully for a kid of quite a young age. He's just gonna have Socrates or whoever his life is at the back there. It doesn't matter who you put in there. It seems. Richarlison's a bit of a bully as well. Mason Holgate is being linked with some other clubs. He's been playing well, so. Especially at Goodison, flipping it. It could be quite a pasting if I'm honest with you. So I'm thinking 3-1.
So you think 3-1 to Everton?
Mm-hmm. That's if we don't have a manager.
So right now on the table, we're going Arsenal 10th. So if they lose this game and Newcastle, Burnley, let's have a look. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, so if they lose this game and Newcastle, Burnley, Brighton, and possibly Bournemouth win their game. Bournemouth or West Ham win. Well, no, not West Ham. Bournemouth win their games. Possibly, they might all be playing each other. So I don't know, but possibly, if Arsenal lose this and the other teams win their games, which is highly unlikely if they do, Arsenal could drop to 14th.
Crazy, isn't it?
Which would be
it's a relegation battle.
Relegation form. And this is assuming that they'll obviously pick up points, but so you're saying
you'd have to think they'd get a new manager in the next. You know what I mean? You'd have to think so.
Next week.
Before then.
Yeah.
That's too long. It's been way too long. Everton got the job done. Watford have got the job done.
Are they not wanting to give Lampard to the end of the season so they can make a valid appointment?
What, to let us get us relegated? Like, you can't. What's the point?
Well,
What's the point of getting a new manager when you're in a championship?
It seems that the impression I seem to get from us is that they were going to use Lampard as interim manager until the end of the season, probably, like United were doing. But I think they assumed that Lampard was going to stabilise the ship. Maybe give him a big boost.
Has he managed
what
before?
Happens. Huh?
Has he managed before?
I don't think so. Solskjaer, I say, has more experience than Lampard at management in terms of his manager team. I think Lampard has always mostly been assistant or support or otherwise. So that for me is the thing. I think that's what the board want to do, because I don't think they wanted to make because if you think about it, Arsenal bought it cheap. They're already paying off Emery because they sacked him, and so they can't get any manager. They might be thinking, is what I'm saying, is that they might want to wait till the summer, where it'll be cheaper to get maybe a manager who. So this is the thing that is like, we are talking about getting a manager now, but like your manager options are limited because some managers still at clubs. It'll be more expensive to buy some managers out of their contracts, etc., etc., because they're still with their teams in the season. So really, you then have to have either assistant managers and like your Artetas, or managers that are sacked.
I'm not talking about just Arsenal. Why is it that all other teams have some kind of contingency plan? Poch got sacked, and Spurs. I mean, obviously, Spurs would have been thinking about that for a while, because to get Mourinho, that's just not a spur of the moment thing. Mourinho's a big manager, and he's going to want this, and this. Yeah. So that's going to be in talks for a while. They're going to be doing a lot behind the scenes. Spurs had that done a couple of days or whatever. Watford have got a new manager. Everton do very good business always. Why is it that Arsenal, they should have 3 managers lined up already? This is Arsenal we're talking about. We're not talking about bloody flipping Everton, who, if Ancelotti goes, I'll be, fair play to him. There should be at least 3 managers, names here, and they should be in advanced talks with 1 or 2. It's embarrassing.
On the other hand, if you do beat Everton, they'll be hovering around relegation again. I'll be absolutely made up with that. Bloody, just go over there and smash them for us.
Yeah.
Because the report seems to suggest that, so it's definitely confirmed that Arteta is speaking to Arsenal.
Is it?
And it's been 2 rounds. Yes, so that's definitely confirmed. There's been 2 rounds of talks apparently.
And he said no twice.
And Guardiola even says that he's talking with Arsenal, so I don't know what is going to happen. So I guess the question is, because the last I checked with Arteta is that he wanted guarantees, he wanted some assurances that what they were I don't know, but he wanted some guaranteed assurances, and ultimately, I don't think Arteta is stupid. I don't think he thinks, oh yeah, what a great opportunity to manage Arsenal. I think a lot of people are looking at the job, even the young men are thinking, do I really want to go and start and potentially ruin my career? Like a lot of these players have gone on to manage teams, like Gary Neville did, like someone else did, and they're like, they take a big club job, and then Lampard at least had a year of experience at Derby, and he knows the framework of the club, there's a support, there was a transfer ban, stabiliser. So the circumstances allowed Lampard to go in. Solskjaer just was ridiculously good with his wins, but initially he was supposed to be an interim anyway, so that was the plan anyway. It was going to be interim during the season. What's the plan here really with Arsenal? I don't know. Yeah, so quick prediction, Team Dukage.
Yeah, I said 3-1.
Everton. Who's to score?
I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin might get a couple, and I think there's going to be an own goal somewhere with that defence. And who can score for Arsenal? Somebody might. Maybe.
Pepe?
Nah.
Free kick?
Maybe like a scuffed, I don't know. Leno's probably got a better chance of scoring than anyone else at the minute. Leno 90th minute, last ditch in the box. Let's go Leno.
Back heel by Leno. Yeah. Okay, quickly moving on. So Shawnee, you take the next one. Aston Villa, Southampton. Quick score prediction.
Yeah, Southampton are not doing very well. Obviously Villa aren't doing hugely well either, but probably just ever so slightly better than Southampton. Southampton, what was that? So they've had 2 wins and 2 losses and a draw in their last 5, so not that bad. Where's Villa? 17, yeah. So it's relegation battle between them two, isn't it? And they've had 3 losses in the last 5. So they had a win, draw, and then 3 losses. Villa.
Yeah, that draw was to United.
No, was it? Yeah, right. Okay, so that was the last really good bit of football. Though it's very very similar from Southampton. The difference is that Southampton have had 1 win, 1 more win. So tough one to call. Southampton seem to be fighting a lot more. Ings is coming into it a bit more now as well.
It seems very close because Norwich have also started to pick up a little bit of form.
A little bit, yeah.
So, and they're only 3 points from if they win the next game, they potentially be out of the relegation zone type of thing. So it's still very
tight.
It's very tight down there. Everton, I think, are getting the boost they've gotten away from it, and West Ham too. So
3-2 to Southampton.
Right.
Yeah.
Quickly do some Burnley, AFC Bournemouth. Both of these teams need a win. This is actually, I think, a 3-pointer in that respect. Looking at the last form, Bournemouth have lost the last 4 out of 5, and Burnley have lost the last 3 out of 5. Burnley are away. It's a difficult one. The problem with Bournemouth is that Bournemouth actually have a lot of injuries, and I didn't actually know this because Eddie Howe doesn't speak. But they have a lot. So many of their key players have gone. Like Harry Wilson has gone out. I think Ake is injured. I think as well. They've got at least 6 key. Brooks, who was on form for them, he's injured. So at least 6 of their key first-team players are gone. And this happened to Eddie Howe, I think, 2 seasons ago, where he had that and he didn't complain. They had a bad run of form, and they came out and he just continued going, So, I think...
And they're doing the same. They're still doing all right.
Yeah, exactly. So, Well, exactly. So, but that said, Burnley are thugs. Even last week, where I think did they win last week?
They won. They won
like
week,
1-0 for essentially being, it was Chris Wood, a thug in the box, and I think that I'm going to give it to Burnley just a 1-0 again, because I think that Bournemouth aren't really scoring a lot of goals.
They've had a tough run, So they started off they've had 4 losses and 1 win in their last 5. So they played Wolves, Wolves are in the top half of the table. They're doing really really well. Probably pushed for that Europa spot. That's probably what they're going for. They lost that 2-1. Then obviously Tottenham. There was the Jose Mourinho boost. That 3-2 close game. 3-2. 1-0 to Crystal Palace. You might turn that around and have a draw, maybe even a win on another day. 3-0 to Liverpool speaks for itself. I mean, you're possibly the new champions. So it's no harm done there. And then obviously the 1-0 win away against Chelsea, bit of a confidence boost. Fair play to them. Might be that they're on a little bit of a win streak now.
And then Jamie says Burnley 1-0 with a typical Ashley Barnes corner goal. Yeah, it sounds like it's just going to be that type of match. I would love it if Bournemouth just battered Burnley.
Yeah, but I wouldn't feel to get relegated.
I think
it's probably not possible.
Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes are 2 thugs in the box that just
old school,
just old school, big in the box, just thug life basically. That's Burnley right now. So quickly moving on. Team Takagi won. Brighton, Sheffield United.
Well, Sheffield seem to do really well against top teams and then get beaten off Newcastle. So, I think Sheffield they're never going to concede more than 2 goals. And do Brighton have the capacity to beat Sheffield by more than 2? Is how I look at it. So I don't think Brighton have 2 goals in them. At the worst, it would be a draw, but I think Sheffield have such a good run of form right now that they're probably gonna. I think we can beat these filthy mudbloods.
Brighton have had a tough run as well. The last 5 games, so they were up against Leicester. They lost 2-0 against Leicester, which is not surprising. 2-1 against us, Liverpool, and then they won against Arsenal. Sorry, like they, it's just one of them things. They won against Arsenal, and then they drew against Wolves, which it just like Wolves seem to be grinding out results. Doesn't matter who it is, and drew against.
Yeah, Brighton are actually playing quite well.
Yeah, it's actually good.
But I fancy Sheffield. I'm going to go Sheffield 2-1.
Yeah.
Sheffield
very similar from I was about to say Bournemouth, Brighton. So like they have like a very similar statistic. So like they've got the draw against Man United, 1-1 against Wolves, which both tough games. Lost against Newcastle, which is surprising because Newcastle aren't have the great season at all by any standards. 2-1 against Norwich, and then 2-0 against Villa. So yeah, very very evenly matched teams.
Yeah, I'll go for 2-1.
So good game.
Right, okay, moving on. I don't know how Dortmund conceded a 2-0 lead, but anyway, we'll go into that. So I'm just reading that. So was it Norwich Wolves?
That's you.
Me?
Norwich Wolves. Oh yeah,
sorry, my bad. Norwich Wolves. Wolves a little bit of a dark horse, so I'm definitely going to go with them. Raul Jimenez is in my fantasy football. He has been now for about at least 4 or 5 weeks. Really, really brilliant with his assists. Really, really brilliant with his goals. Matinho and Dendonka, like them kind of players, are really starting to come in with it, like come into form.
Doesn't Matinho have the most assists?
I think De Bruyne does, doesn't he?
Okay, yeah.
De Bruyne does. So yeah, lots and lots of good players for Wolves. I think even Neves you can chuck in there. So I'm going to go with Wolves 3-1. And I think Pookie is not gonna go on the score sheet this time.
No Pookie.
So I'm just yeah.
Well, Wolves, I say, I've seen them always do struggle against smaller ones. So sorry, we shall see. I think
you get the best one.
Well, I've got United going after this, so I think I'll give it back to Team Takagi actually. So because the United game is after this.
You've got the best one.
Manchester City versus Leicester City. Team Takagi.
I don't know. After Leicester drawing with Norwich at home, that's just so weird to me. I would have probably said Leicester if that didn't happen.
But they didn't lose.
Yeah, that's true.
And then when was the last time Leicester did lose?
Against Liverpool, like what was that, 8 games ago?
Do you think City lost at home?
Yeah. Do you think City are picking up a second wind? Maybe.
No, I think Arsenal were just bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Brendan Rodgers is not going to, and Brendan Rodgers is not going to play the same way that Arsenal played against. The big thing for me in that City Leicester game last season when it was, I think, Company's goal that won it, was that Leicester did, for large parts of that game, dominate Manchester City. Like, they actually outpossessed them in terms of possession, which I'd not seen before. So there are only a few teams that can really do that. Liverpool have sort of done it sometimes because by making City players have to work a lot harder. Norwich actually sort of did somewhat for at least large parts of the game when they were, but Leicester City last season, they really held on to the ball to them, and they've obviously got a stronger team this season. That's my input anyway. It's obviously your sort of thing, but
you kind of threw me a curveball there. I'm not really sure now.
I guess what I'm saying is they're not going to be. It's not going to be like not going to set up as like a white or defend deep like United and Newcastle did. I think Leicester are going to try and have a lot more of the ball.
Yeah.
Than City will.
Meet them toe to toe. That's what I'd be saying to my Leicester players. I'd just be like saying we're above them. We're playing probably better than what they are at the moment. Meet them toe to toe.
I feel like it's going to be a draw. 2-2.
I would be absolutely made up with that.
Yeah.
That's like the best
I'm
result.
sitting on the fence.
I guess the only thing for me is that Company's not there. I think Company, for me, with his mentality, his mindset, got them through that game. I know he scored the goal, but I think that's what captain does.
Yeah.
And the big thing with me with Man City is that, like, it's fine when you're playing. I'm sorry, Team Nakagi, banter teams like Arsenal, so like that are just not interested. But when you're playing against a team that like wants to get points, wants to win, and and that you're also down to those teams. Because anytime City's been down, they've not really come back. Like, you know, they
It's
were.
true.
Not this season.
They're not this season.
They're not a fighting team, are they?
No.
They don't go down like 2-0
And then they come back.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, maybe 1-0 possibly can equalise, etc. But even then, they'll still.
My prediction.
Anyway, go on.
2-2.
Sorry. 2-2. 2-2.
It's a good one.
I've done
actually.
the least talking in.
In your game.
Jamie
It's
says.
quite an exciting game.
Jamie says 3-2 to Leicester. So,
Yeah,
so
right.
there
I'm
we
actually
go.
gonna. I was gonna say go the other way. I was gonna think that
3-2 City.
City. Oh, Pep's gonna get them up for this one.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna get them rallied up, and
Like he
and I
got
think.
right up against United.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They just didn't seem that like that, did they? They didn't seem rallied up
Just
at
a
all.
derby, and it was like-
Yeah,
That's what
just
they-
nothing.
That was their World Cup. So,
Yeah.
You know,
But
that's
that
the trophy for the season,
That
obviously.
that loss might just like say he might be saying to his players, look, we can't. This is ridiculous
Can't
now.
happen
Let's
again.
let's get them.
That's what my logic was, thinking City were going to win, but
Yeah.
I was coerced out of it by old man G.
Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go
I sat on the fence.
little bit altered, and just I say City. Same result for City. It's gonna be
Yeah, I'm going
3-1.
3-2 City.
3-2 City.
See, and the last thing I'll say is that like Leicester have conceded less goals than Manchester City all season.
Yeah.
That's just
It's-
another
yeah.
small thing.
No doubt about it. They've been on a bad run. You can even like see that it's been very sporadic. So it's like win, draw, win, lose, win. You know, it's like it's kind of like that.
Leicester-
Yeah.
Only conceded 11 goals.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Exactly. So that's the other thing. Leicester's defense is ultimately better than City. Is the defense so? And I just don't think Fernandinho is as a centre back will be able to deal with Jamie Vardy. But that's another story. We'll see. Watford, they did actually. Yeah, they did. Well, you know, no Pookie, no party at the end of the day. So, so Watford, Manchester United, and I'll be doing a preview for that on Friday. That's on Sunday, so probably Saturday, Sunday, somewhere I don't know. I'll do a preview. Anyway, I actually think this is going to be a draw. Because I watched the Liverpool-Watford game, the Nigel Peterson, and to be honest,
Tightened up everything.
they were quite tight. He's tightened up. He's gotten defending well. Honestly, I mean, I don't know whether Josh, you were here, I think, and Sarr. I mean, you know, that's the only possible thing that gives me a lifeline that United might win, is that Watford's finishing against Liverpool was
horrific.
bad.
They could have beaten us.
They could, absolutely. There were at least 3 opportunities where like it's an open goal, and one of them he just like air kicks the ball.
Yeah.
Thing was sort of just like open goal,
Yeah.
and it's like
It's like you forgot what to do.
yeah, it's like what just happened. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming that that's not going to happen again against United. But
I mean, it's ironic, isn't it, that the team that's bottom of the league had the best chance of beating us this season.
Villa. A lot of a few of the bottom teams.
Yeah.
Villa pushed you right to the edge.
Yeah, 95th minute.
Sheffield United pushed you right to the edge as well,
Yeah.
but for that fumble mistake by Henderson. So.
Yeah.
It's all these bits and pieces of luck, you know. So, but Duncan Ferguson will see your Goodison if he's still there.
Could also
so.
be tenacity, you know, like just to keep going to the very
That's
end.
true.
You know,
That's true.
just to keep going, push for that last goal.
So I think it's going to be a draw, personally, unless, like I said, with the team we have now that Nigel Pearson looked like a very organised team that would be difficult to break down, and that's been United's weakness all season. So as much as I think we need to win this game, I just can't see us doing it, because if they had the previous manager or any of the previous managers, then yes. But Nigel Pearson is a good coach and he's organised them well, and we could sort of not lose this, but I'll draw just for the sake.
Yeah, okay.
Lastly, and I'll give it to Shawnee before we finish, and I'll have a brief about fantasy football. Tottenham, Chelsea.
Yeah, another good one. Like I say, Mourinho kind of knows what to do, doesn't he? Like, he's been in London before. He knows the London clubs. It's still tough though. I don't know. Like, I don't think Chelsea's as big as a flop as like. I mean, it looks horrible because they've got 4 losses and 1 win in the last 5, so it's like quite terrible.
But before that, it was like 5.
What was their win? Villa. Yeah.
Before that, it was like 5 wins in a row.
It was City that they lost to City. They lost to West Ham, which is that's a tough result. Beat Villa, obviously. Lost to Everton. That was just horrific. At the time they were in the relegation zone, and you get beat 3-1. That's terrible. That's terrible.
That's what happens when Big D comes about.
And then they lost to Bournemouth, which is also like equally as bad, really. But Tammy Abraham, he's a talent, isn't he? He's fantastic.
He's not scored that many goals recently.
No, he hasn't.
Just about every fantasy football.
Yeah, he's out there.
Yeah, go on, and I'll give it to Tottenham just because Son is an absolute magician right now. Will Kante be playing?
I think Kante will be playing.
Yeah. This is a hard one to call, actually. I'll give it to Tottenham. I'll go 2-1 to Tottenham because Chelsea aren't getting blown away. They're not getting like. I mean, the only like third goal that was scored against them was Everton, so they're not getting like massively beat. So like I'm just gonna go 2-1 to Tottenham. Son and Ali scoring.
Okay. Right, and just before we finish, thanks to everyone who's watching. So just top fantasy football picks for this coming game week, guys. I'll start with Team Takage.
I'm going with Jimenez. He always seems to get at least an assist, so if you're looking for kind of guaranteed points.
Yeah, I think Jimenez is your guy. You'd fancy yourself against those Norwich defenders. So you're looking for a reasonably priced forward. Go for Jimenez. He's probably around 7 point something. So yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, I mean, I've said Jimenez over the last couple of weeks, so I'll see if I can sort of change it up. And I'll go for another Wolves player and say Moutinho, just because he's sort of been picking it up a little bit. And I know that Dendoncker is kind of like the dark horse that gets all the points, but I'll go for Moutinho. Get all the Liverpool players out, which I can't because obviously I don't have 3 free transfers, which is really frustrating. And yeah, Moutinho for me is a dark horse. I was going to say Willems, but once again, I think Newcastle and United are against Crystal Palace. That's going to be hard for them to keep a clean sheet against Palace, I think. So
Palace haven't lost for a while, from what I remember.
Yeah, Willems is another good one though. So yeah, Willems and Moutinho, either one of them, all good shouts, I think.
Let's have a look. These
Jamie
are quite.
Says Danny Ings is mine.
Danny Ings, fair enough, Jamie. Fair enough.
That's a good one.
I'll stick him in for you, Jamie.
I'm looking at these are quite close ties, so it's very difficult to for me to pick a specific. I mean, I think obviously if you haven't already, like having Son or Ali in your team is always a good shout. To be honest, when they could what their consistency is, I think that's quite good. If I was doing an oddball though, I would probably say maybe an Everton player, a Calvert-Lewin or even Charlison, because Everton, I agree with Team Takage in that, like, I think at Goodison Park, especially as you saw how passionate Duncan Ferguson was when Everton beat Chelsea, and Chelsea in a better situation than Arsenal are right now. And the crowd and everything, it was just, and so that passion, that thing is going to meet Arsenal at Goodison at 12:30, and it could be ugly. It could be ugly.
And this is an early game as well. Think about that. Some players might be a bit tired.
Tired, exactly. So I think possible shout putting in some of Everton players, maybe a Richarlison or Lewin. I think Sigurdsson might be injured, so I don't think he'll be there. I think those might potentially be a good shout because I don't see Arsenal getting a lot from this, or maybe as a defender, Digny or who's the other defender they have? That's Amina. Sorry, but I put Digny because he's usually good for assists. I would go for that in that respect. So that's it, guys. So sorry about my cold. So I've been coughing all stream. I apologise. But thanks everyone for those who are watching us coming back. Big shout out to everyone who was involved in the stream. So that's you, Jamie, obviously. Chris obviously stopped by. Georgia B. Don Ragnar, and just everyone basically that just got involved. Really appreciate you stopping by and supporting the channel and continuing to listen to the podcast, because we do it for you guys. So that's goodbye from Old Man G and Team Takage.
Peace.
And Shawnee.
Shawnee, catch you later, guys. Thank you.
So thanks everyone for watching. Remember, please to like, share, and subscribe to REDEVILSTUDIO. Follow us on Twitter, WeUnitedX, as well as download the podcasts. I'm gonna be putting all the podcasts over the Christmas period. I'm gonna download and put them all onto iTunes and Spotify, so you have them all on. Obviously, join our Discord community. There's a link in the description, as well as support us on Patreon if you can. And then lastly, the new 100% Manchester United podcast will be starting soon, hopefully, probably from next week. The format will be explained close to the time, but basically it will be kind of like a StreamYard, kind of getting you guys to come on and have your say regarding all things Manchester United. So that's the plan, and possibly the post-match reactions as well. Anyway, enough